Our story commences with Mary. A precocious child, she outshone her brother, Thomas, in intellect and skill. She labored relentlessly, night and day, eventually securing a position as the Duke's maid. Thomas, conversely, was preoccupied with the pursuit of influence and renown. Time passed, and Mary astonished all with her achievements, gaining widespread acclaim. Yet, the day arrived when she was banished, and Thomas was installed as an advisor to the president. The Duke assured Thomas that he would depend on him completely from that point forward. Returning to the present, Thomas muses, "Mary has deciphered my entire scheme. A brilliant mind, undoubtedly." Just then, Mr. Bismarck enters, informing him of Lord Courant and the other's imminent arrival in Belsaad, cautioning him to exercise more prudence in the future. Thomas expresses his regrets and pledges to secure a triumph. Mr. Bismarck consoles him. "Maintain your composure, Thomas. Your allegiance to us is unquestioned, therefore I hold no blame against you." Raising his blade, he declares, "With this sword, I've forged a path to victory, and I'm relying on you, Thomas. Ultimately, we shall prevail together." Thomas, relieved to have regained Mr. Bismarck's confidence, reflects that Lord Courant must be eliminated for the benefit of their nation. However, the narrative shifts to Lord Courant. Earth and the other companions are assembled. They discuss the opportune moment to capture the fortress of Varzad. Lord Courant proclaims, "Deliver Thomas himself to me. He targeted me personally during our operation at Stan's fortress. We anticipate more of the same. They will persist until we are completely encircled, but I place my trust in each of you." At that instant, a knock echoes at the door, and a guard announces the presence of a Varzad envoy seeking an audience with Lord Courant. The scene transitions to the envoy, who introduces himself as a representative of Kansas Van Dole, the leader of Osad, concerning the impending conflict. He inquires about the possibility of a ceasefire, leaving everyone astounded. The envoy clarifies that Lord Kansas wishes to prevent needless casualties. Lord Courant counters, "Surely, that's a fabrication." He knows defeat is inevitable, but refuses to yield. The envoy refutes this, stating, "No, he aims to avert bloodshed. They possess a devastating weapon capable of obliterating an entire city with a single blow. Should you desire a global conflict, we're prepared to engage." Lord Courant questions, "If you possess such a device, why haven't you deployed it already?" The envoy responds, "We desire neither war nor the loss of our territory, my lord. However, if your hostility continues, we will be left with no alternative. That is the purpose of my request for a truce." Lord Courant requests time to deliberate. Following the envoy's departure, the group begins to confer. Mary asserts that it is clearly a ruse. Arth inquires whether Lord Courant has ever encountered a weapon of this nature. Lord Courant answers, "In past epochs, no such weapon existed. Furthermore, I doubt the city of Varzad has the capacity to construct such a destructive device as they allege." Russell contemplates the situation and remarks, "They must have anticipated our refusal of the truce." He then addresses Mary, "Do you believe your brother, Thomas, has an ulterior motive, a hidden agenda?" Mary admits her uncertainty. Russell continues, "Very well, provide me with some information about him, so I can adequately assess our adversary." The scene flashes back to the past, depicting Thomas's father amidst a throng of individuals. They pronounce his impending execution for alleged high treason. He vehemently denies the accusation, crying out, "Such an act is inconceivable for me." The official informs him that the ruler has received reports from numerous credible informants. Thomas's father implores, "What has the ruler decreed? I have repeatedly requested an audience with him." The Duke declares, "This judgment is final." Desperately, Thomas's father appeals to the Duke with a final plea, "I have 2 children. Take them into your custody. If not, eliminate them, for their abilities make them equally perilous. If their noble status is revoked and they are exiled, they could one day pose a threat to the realm." The Duke accedes to this request and takes the children. We observe Thomas, consumed by fury over his father's fate. A man so devoted that he even requested the execution of his own offspring to safeguard the ruler from potential betrayal. When Thomas glances at Mary and observes her placid expression, he is enraged, convinced their lives are also in jeopardy. Mary counters, "Consider this carefully. The ruler disregarded all of our father's pleas during his sentencing. Why would he now heed his concerns regarding our supposed threat? Eventually, the ruler banishes them, stripping them of their nobility and reducing them to commoners." Mary reassures Thomas, "I'm relieved they spared our lives. Our father was a rigid man. He should have escaped instead of accepting his execution. We may have forfeited our ancestral home, but we retain our intellect and our will. Armed with these, We can persevere. Mary then discards her bothersome attire, declaring it unnecessary now that she is a commoner. She resolves to survive, despite her loss of status. The narrative returns to the present, where Mary informs Arth that she and Thomas enrolled in the Public Officers Academy, becoming experts in strategy. This fueled Thomas's resentment towards her, as he perpetually found fault with her. Arth and his companions express their sympathy, realizing the extent of her past hardships. Mary requests a change of subject. The scene shifts to the fortress of Arzad, where Thomas directs his troops to prepare for a swift departure. Lord Kansas questions him, "Are you truly going yourself, particularly now that Stan's fortress is under their control? They'll be unable to receive reinforcements." Thomas replies, "I shall demonstrate my loyalty to Lord Bismarck. This time, I will vanquish Mary and finally sever our past." The story returns to Arth, who is conferring with his group about their war strategy. Lord Karan inquires, "Are all preparations complete?" They confirm the imminent arrival of reinforcements. He instructs them to notify him immediately if any developments arise. At that juncture, a soldier approaches Lord Karan with a scout report indicating the presence of a massive weapon on Varzad Hill. Everyone is stunned, realizing the weapon is not a deception, as initially suspected. They had presumed Vars had lacked the resources or the technical expertise to create such a device. Arth looks to his companions, and Russell asks, "Do you believe it's genuinely a weapon?" Mary responds, "It's clearly a fabrication. They've constructed a menacing-looking structure simply to mislead us." The Duke counters, "But what if it's functional? We could be in grave danger." Harry scoffs at their credulity, mocking their belief without verification. Arth intervenes, saying, "We must ascertain the truth." Mary suggests dispatching scouts to investigate, and Arth concurs, assigning Pham to the mission. We then observe Pham journeying to the reported location of the weapon. Upon arrival, he discovers the enormous contraption. Pham ascends the structure for closer inspection and eventually reports back to Arth that it's a sham. Arth relays this information to the group, confirming the weapon is a decoy. Arth explains, the large-scale weapon was a fabrication. A thorough examination revealed the absence of a sufficiently large magical reservoir to generate a powerful spell. There were no mages present either. Rutso comments, "The truce offer was merely a tactic to gain time. But that defies logic. Why bother stalling? Reinforcements at Varzad Fortress would only afford us more time to bolster our forces, which offers them no advantage. Did they truly anticipate our belief in their claim about the large-scale weapon? Thomas is far too astute for such a maneuver." Oren adds, "I've received intelligence that they're reinforcing Varzad Fortress. It's unwise to grant them any more time." Arth begins to mutter to himself, "This scenario feels strangely familiar, as if it's transpired before." Suddenly, he exclaims, "Wait, I have a sense of déjà vu." Charlotte reminds him, "The large-scale weapon proved to be a fake." Mary interjects, "I understand. Are you referring to the mock battle?" Arth shouts, "Precisely. The mock battle." The scene cuts to a young woman stating, "I manipulated a soldier into surrendering and disseminating false intelligence to entice the opposing side to advance." Barth exclaims, "They dispatched an envoy bearing an obvious falsehood to provoke us into action. It's the same tactic." Mary elucidates, "My younger brother, Thomas, anticipates our discovery of their deception and subsequent attack, allowing them to ambush us with their full might while our defenses are neglected." Karan responds, "He factored your intelligence into his strategy, Russell." Russell produces a map and explains, "This implies they'll ambush us as we advance. Considering the terrain en route to the fortress, we'd be susceptible to attack here, in Kai Forest. The enemy could be concealed within." Cray suggests, "We can exploit this to our advantage. Let's incinerate the forest, along with their forces." Mary smirks and remarks, "Employing my own strategy against me? You have much to learn, Thomas. It appears I've triumphed again." The scene transitions to Kai Forest, where soldiers are making preparations. Thomas announces, "You'll deduce our presence within the forest and attempt to burn it down while we're inside. You'll be brimming with confidence, but we've rigged the forest with magical devices that will detonate upon contact with fire. The instant your flames ignite, the devices will explode, inflicting substantial damage on your ranks." A soldier commends the plan, praising Thomas's brilliance. The soldiers approach Thomas, reporting the placement of all devices. Thomas responds, "Excellent work, everyone. Now, I shall reveal the true objective. The enemy possesses a significant numerical advantage. Even if we manage to eliminate some of them with the explosives, it won't be enough to halt their advance. The explosions will alert them to their miscalculation and throw them into disarray." A startled soldier inquires, Are you suggesting we'll penetrate their ranks during the explosions? Thomas confirms, indeed. They outnumber us considerably, so we must be prepared to face death at every turn. This upcoming battle is a struggle for survival. If you're not prepared for such a risk, depart now before I turn to face you. The soldiers converse amongst themselves. Thomas adds, this is a perilous plan. If we fail to capture the enemy general, our deaths will be in vain. At this moment, Thomas recalls Bismarck's words, you are the son of Edward, who sacrificed everything for our region. I believe he was unjustly accused. We lost a valuable man. Thomas reflects, for that esteemed man, I pledged my loyalty to Lord Bismarck, vowing to do everything in my power to secure victory for him. That includes schemes like the one at the Castle of Grim Death. Regardless of the consequences, I've always been ready to die. Everything I've done has been for the Lord and to uphold the principles my father embodied. I will achieve victory over Mary, even if I stand alone. I will do it by myself. Thomas turns to his soldiers, only to find them awaiting his command. Overjoyed, Thomas hears a soldier declare, just as you swore allegiance to the Lord, we pledge our loyalty to you, Thomas. Meanwhile, we see Arth and his companions. Cray announces, we stand before Kai Forest. Let's proceed.